welcome to our channel. If you are new to our channel and you haven't seen any of our videos before, we are the Disney Twins UK. My name's Katie.
I'm Hayley.
And we just focus on all things Disney in our videos. So we try and give as many tips as we can. We try and find out as much information as we can to share with you guys. And we also love going to all the Disney parks as well. So we do have vlogs on there from all of our trips over the last sort of year or so, to Disney World, Disneyland California and Disneyland Paris. So this video is all about Disneyland Paris. We have had an annual pass for the last year, and we have been on quite a few trips this year, haven't we? We had been a couple of times prior to that, and we did actually do a tips video around about a year ago, just with things that we found out when we were just really getting into Disneyland Paris and researching and kind of what was working for us. We thought we'd do a little bit of an update on Disneyland Paris tips basically, and just share sort of things that are new, things we've only just found out about, and just let you guys know sort of the most up-to-date information as we have it. So hopefully you'll find it useful. We are going to start right at the very beginning with the first thing you should do before you even get there, which is download the Disneyland Paris app.
It's a great app. It's definitely got better over the time we've been going to Disneyland Paris. It's fantastic. You'll find out opening and closing times of the parks. There are park maps on there as well, and it also works off GPS, so when you're in there you'll be able to see whereabouts you are and whereabouts you need to go. We do recommend that you spend some time getting to know it before you go. If you can kind of have an understanding of the park layout and how it works. We did this for Disneyland in California and it really helped us. So if you can kind of just spend a little bit of time on the app before you get there, just familiarising yourself with the park, having a little look to see which rides, attractions and shows are on, and also it will update with the times for your dates, so you can click in your dates and it will bring up the times of the different shows and things that are on. Now it does update on a Friday for the week ahead, so it doesn't give you the times weeks and weeks in advance. It will for opening and closing times, but for those shows you're going to need to kind of look a bit nearer the time. It comes on a Friday and those times are good for the week. And also it will come up with wait times for rides as well. So if you're wondering sort of like, oh, how long roughly am I going to be in a queue for, that sort of thing, it's really useful to just look ahead of time to what attractions have the longest wait times. You can kind of prepare yourself a little bit that way as well, so you know roughly how long of a wait that you're in for. That brings us on to our second tip, which is to plan your must-dos. We feel it's important to do your research before you go, and then you can get together a little priorities list of the things that look really great and you really want to do, and then you can kind of prioritize them and make sure those ones are the things that get done first, and then you can experience other things when you find out how much time you've got left on your trip. So it's great to get the family together, maybe watch some vlogs, have a little look on the website and the app, and really just pick a few things that you think, actually I really, that looks fantastic, I really want to do that, I really want to see that, that's a ride I definitely want to go on, and kind of put the family's must-dos together, just so you've kind of got a list, and you don't have to plan it minute by minute, but you've got an idea of those things that you really don't want to go home without doing, and making sure that if you haven't got time for everything, then you come away knowing that you've done the things that you were the most interested in. And if you want to try and save time, use the app, look on the map, see where those things are, and try and do things sort of like in each area at a time rather than zigzagging. It'll save you loads of time, your feet will thank you for it, and you'll still get to do all of your must-dos. Okay, tip number 3 is get there early. We recommend staying in a Disney hotel if you want to do that. We love Disney hotels. We will always stay there over staying off-site if we can, because you get those extra magic hours.
So, well, they call it Extra Magic Time at Disneyland Paris. If you've been to Disney World, it's more Extra Magic Hour. But basically, it's an hour in the park before it opens. Yeah. So generally what they say is park opens at 10, rough sort of guide. You might want to just double check on all the opening times for when you're going. But basically you have from 8:30 till 9:30 in the park, just hotel guests, so no other guests in the park.
Yeah.
And it is so amazing.
Yeah, you do get to do things that with a much shorter wait time than the rest of the day. Mornings are genuinely early, like kind of, you know, if you get there early, you're going to get more done in the mornings because people will be traveling, other people might be having kind of a little lie-in or some breakfast not in the park. So it's a great time to get those kind of rides and meet and greets done that normally have a huge wait time. You can kind of like really reduce your waits for those things. It is worth mentioning that usually Disneyland Park open at 8 o'clock for hotel guests, but you can't actually go on any rides or anything, and the meet and greets don't start until 8:30. But if you get there at 8, it does give you a chance to go and queue up and scan your park ticket, enter the park, you can take some photographs, and you can head towards the area that you want to start in. So it's really important that you do get there early. If you aren't staying at a Disney hotel and you are coming ready for 10 o'clock, be a little bit earlier than that. Again, they may let you in a little bit earlier so you can get into the park, you can figure out where you need to go before that 10 o'clock start time, and then you're ready to get straight onto that first ride. So on the website, it will show you which rides and attractions are on at which times. Not all of the rides and attractions open at opening time and close at closing time. They do have their own individual time, so it can kind of get a little bit confusing. Sometimes you'll go up to a ride and then realise that actually that ride's not open yet, or you're expecting the ride to be still open later on in the day when in fact they've already closed that area. So it's really important that you know what times those attractions you want to do open and close, because they will change. They may also change from day to day as well, and this does vary, especially when the park closes at different times of the evening. So in the winter the parks close fairly early, and then in the summer they close late, so that time will really change, won't it?
Yeah, exactly. And if you get the programme on the Friday of the week it comes out, either via online, or if you grab a programme when you get to the parks, it will have all those up-to-date times for all the shows in there. And also we definitely recommend just trying to allocate a little bit of time before that to go and get in line. So things like the meet and greets, they'll have their own sort of time slots. Be in line before the character shows up, because once that character gets there, it attracts attention. Everyone knows who's meeting and greeting. People might be like, oh, walking past, oh, we'll have our photo. Whereas if they're not already there, kind of nobody knows what you're queuing up for. So that's one of our tips as well.
Yeah, there will be a sign at the different meet points. You can kind of tell it's a meet point. It has kind of its own little kind of little mini sets type thing. So if you kind of look and think, oh, that looks a bit interesting, oh, I can see a genie lamp there, and no one's there, that's probably going to be, you know, that's a spot where a character's going to meet and greet. There will be a sign at that location, and they'll put the character's picture on there, and also some times on there as well. So it's just something to keep your eye out while you're in the park, to have a little look to see where those locations are, and like Katie said, get in line before the character arrives, and then you'll be in for a much shorter wait.
So tip number 5 is make use of the Disneyland Paris Fast Pass system. Now if you've been to Florida, you'll have experienced the absolutely amazing Fast Pass system they've got over there, where you can do everything online and you can book those 3 Fast Passes a day. Unfortunately, Disneyland Paris don't have that system. They have the old sort of paper ticket system. This is the free fast passes that we're talking about right now. They do also have a way of purchasing extra fast passes, which you can do through the app, I believe, or through your hotel. But this one is just for those free passes that anybody can get. So basically, selected rides will have a little machine outside, and it will have a sign over the top of it with 2 times on there. That will be your slot for getting a little ticket with that time on it, with a return time that you can go back and ride in the shorter fast pass queue. We do it loads, don't we?
Yeah, we absolutely love doing the fast pass. It does save so much time. All you have to do is scan your park ticket. It pops out a paper ticket, tells you what time to come back, and then you go and hand that ticket in at the fast pass queue. It's really, really easy, and it saves a lot of time. The only thing that I would say is just the times go up during the day. So at the start of the day at 10 o'clock, those machines will become live, and that window, the first window, will probably be 10 until 10:30, and then when enough tickets have come out of the machines, that time will creep up to 10:15 until 11:15, and so on. So the amount of tickets that comes out, it will, once it's done enough tickets, it will then move the time on. It generally gets stuck around the kind of between 5 and 6 window, because that's genuine, like kind of when the parade is roughly. Again, that does change depending on what time of year you go, and it kind of gets stuck because lots of people want to go and watch the parade, and therefore the machines aren't printing out those tickets. So you do have to make sure that when you go up for a fast pass, that you have a look at that time window and think, is that a time I'm able to go back? Make sure it doesn't clash with things like the parade and any dining reservations that you might have. But all in all, it does save a lot of time, and it is really, really easy, isn't it? A tip that we've got for making the most out of the fantastic shows at Disneyland Paris is to use the MasterCard reserved seating. It doesn't cost any extra, it is absolutely free, but the kind of deal that Disneyland Paris and MasterCard have together means that if you have got a MasterCard, you get a couple of little perks. And one of those perks is that if you take your MasterCard to guest services, either in Disneyland Park or Walt Disney Studios Park, if you go and show them that card and you have some ID, they will give you a ticket so that you don't have to wait for as long, and you get a really, really good seat for a couple of the shows.
Yeah.
Now at the moment, it's Mickey and the Magician in Walt Disney Studios Park, which we absolutely love, don't we?
Yeah, it's probably, we would say it's probably the best show on Disney property at Disneyland Paris.
Yeah.
It's amazing, and because it's amazing, it gets busy.
Yeah, you are going to want to, like, if you want to go and not do this tip and you just want to go and queue up for it, at busy times, like school holidays for example, you are going to need to kind of wait an hour before if you want to get a good seat. But the seats at the very front of the auditorium are actually reserved for MasterCard holders and Green Pass. So those ones right at the front, the best seats in the house, we would say, are already reserved. So even if you wait an hour, you know, you're not going to be able to sit in those seats because they are reserved for MasterCard and Green Pass. So, you know, we think that getting MasterCard priority reserved seats is a really good idea, because you don't actually need to queue up for as long. They do say about half an hour before, and you go and you show your ticket that they print off for you at guest services, and then once you get inside, you then show it to a cast member and they'll show you which seats to sit in, and it is those ones at the very front, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's worth mentioning as well, they usually are only available for select showings of that show during the day. So when you get to guest services, and they will ask you which show that you wanted to go and see, they might tell you which ones are available, so which times are available. So you might just need to be a little bit flexible with which showing that you're going to go to. They'll ask you how many tickets you would like, and then they will print off these little, they look just like the fast passes, so just like a little slip of card with the show time for the show on it. And yes, you just show those when you get there, and you'll be shown to your amazing seat right at the front of the auditorium. So one thing that particularly quite recently over the last year or so has been a bit of a bone of contention with various people going to Disneyland Paris is the Lineability app. We still don't know how to say it because we've got no definitive answer as yet, how you say it, but basically we'll try and pop it on the screen for you what the app looks like. It's basically an app that you download. It's not a Disneyland Paris app. No, it's an app that lots of different venues use, but basically what you do is you download this app to your phone, and then you can book select meet and greets in Disneyland Park and Studios Park. A lot of meet and greets you can still just walk up to the characters, like you can just get in line for. There is actually a little logo next to the Line of Tea meet and greets in the programme, so if you have a look when you get your programme, it will actually tell you which character meet and greets you do need to book for using this app. And also what time the booking slot actually opens for that character, because they all vary. And they might even vary, you know, basically month on month. So we found that it has changed quite a lot. It used to be when it first opened, that when it first started, like, we had to use this Line of Tea thing. It would be very specific, 2 very specific times, like a morning slot and afternoon slot. They're trying to stagger that a little bit more now from what we've noticed in the last year or so. So definitely worth checking when those open, because unless you are on the app at that exact moment that the booking slot opens, you might not get a ticket for that meet and greet, and you can't just go and line up for it. You have to have, you know, have a virtual ticket in this virtual queue using the Line of Tea app. So it is really disappointing if your kids see that Woody is right there, but then you can't just go and join the line for it. And especially when they first started using the system, we did see a lot of disappointed people, didn't we? So the last thing you want is to tell your children that they can't go and see a particular character that they would love to meet. So definitely 100% priority is download the app before you go.
What you need to make sure is that in the morning that you're in one of the Disney parks, and at the time when that line opens, which you'll find out if you actually click on the app, and it will in the morning, and it will tell you what time that line opens. Like Katie said, they are trying to stagger it, I think, so the app is a bit more stable. So you do need to check those, because they will change. So what you need to do is you need to be inside one of the Disney parks. You click on where it says take a ticket, and then it will say Disneyland Paris. You click on there, and then you click on the park of the meet and greet that you want to do. So if it's Walt Disney Studios Park, you click on that, and then there will be the meet and greets that are available for that park. So what you'll need to do is click on it, and you know, a few minutes before it actually opens, so it will say closed, but you just need to keep refreshing the screen, and when that time actually becomes available, so if it's 9:45 and it then becomes live, it will come up, and it will ask you how many tickets you need. So you change it and to the number that you want to, and then you click validate, and then it will spin round, and hopefully it will then tell you that you've got a ticket and roughly how long you'll need to wait. But you don't have to wait right there, you can go away and do other things, and then it'll let you know when it's time to go back and go to the queue, and then you just show your phone to the cast member who've got a tablet there, and they just click it off and let you in the queue. It sounds really complicated. And the worst thing is that it really, all of the tickets do go within 1 minute of that line opening, so it can be very disappointing. It can be a very stressful few minutes for you, but as long as you're on there before the time and you keep refreshing that page for the character that you want, when it becomes live, you can click straight on there. So yeah, good luck with it. We've had a lot of success with it because we set an alarm a few minutes before just to make sure we've got the app open, and that we keep refreshing until that queue becomes live.
We both do it as well. So one of us might try and get if there's one character that you definitely want to get, it might be worth both trying to get the same one, just in case. We've had situations where we've been kicked off the app, where the app's just closed, but when we've gone back onto it, all the tickets have gone. So if there's one specific meet and greet that you can't leave without doing, maybe both go for that one. Or you can just go, like, I might try for the Woody meet and greet, H might try for a different one, and then we see what happens. We have actually noticed, especially quite recently, is that the time that they give you for roughly how long it's going to be before you're called hasn't been very accurate, has it?
No.
We have been basically, I mean, I think at one point it was a couple of hours before we should have had notification. They were like, okay, it's your turn, and we were like, oh, we weren't expecting it, so we weren't ready, we weren't in the right park. I think it was a Studios meet and greet, we were in Disneyland Park, but you just have to be ready to to go when they call you, basically.
Yeah.
And there is a little bit of a grace period. So I think the latest that we've ever turned up after they've kind of sent the notification saying it's our turn was probably half an hour, roughly. But it really does depend how busy they are. It depends what cast member's on, because they have those tablets. They can close that section of the line anytime, like within reason. So it is better if when you get that message you do go straight there, but obviously things can happen if you're in the middle of a meal. You know, I think if you are, you know, within reason, if you get there a little bit after time, the cast members should still let you in the line, but obviously it is their discretion. So yeah, just one thing to note really that we've kind of found out just recently about the Line Bitty app. But yeah, good luck with it. Hopefully Disneyland Paris will sort of get to grips with the system. It is already improving.
And in all fairness, it does cut down the amount of time that you will wait for a character. You know, we generally, especially because we go a lot in school holidays, you can be waiting up to an hour for a meet and greet. All the Line Bitty meet and greets that we've done, it's, you know, at one point we were the second person in the line to meet Minnie, and so we waited literally 1 minute. The longest we probably waited is about 5 minutes. So when it works, it really does work, and it does save a lot of time, but it just comes with a little bit of stress, just for a couple of minutes, and obviously a little bit of disappointment if you don't get it. But do keep trying with it, and remember that there are lots of other characters you can meet without doing the Line Bitty app. So if you want to meet characters, it's not the end of the world if you don't get it. You know, there are lots of other ones you can just line up and meet. So our next tip is all about finding somewhere to watch the parade and illuminations, the fireworks show. So obviously, being highlights of anybody's trip to Disneyland Paris, it's gonna get busy. Yeah, really busy. We have known there to be quite a lot of pushing and shoving. There's definitely no personal space when you're trying to watch these things. But we have found a couple of little strategies just to make that viewing a little bit more pleasant for everybody. So we wanted to share this next tip with you, and it is to try and find somewhere where there's a bit of a barrier or a rope or a bin in front of you. It's basically one of the best ways to avoid somebody sneaking in front of you and standing directly in your view. And it does usually create that little bit of extra space for you. So it's something we do every single time, isn't it? And it's definitely 100% worth it. You are going to need to get there a little bit early if you want somewhere that's got that sort of that space, that rope in front of you, that railing. But it is definitely worth it. I mean, lots of times in school holidays we'll go an hour before the parade and an hour before illuminations to see if we can find somewhere with a rope or a railing to go and stand behind. People will come at the last minute and try and shove in front of you, and they will get really close to you, and I think you just have to be prepared for that. Obviously, if you waited an hour, the last thing you want is to someone to come and stand right in your face, and as soon as it starts, people will put children on their shoulders, they'll put phones in the air to video it. So yeah, you need to try and just see if you can get kind of like front row experience, but also to make sure you stand your ground, because people will try and be a bit cheeky, and you don't want that to ruin your experience, because the parade and illuminations are amazing. It's about just making sure that you get there nice and early, and you try and get a really good spot with a clear view, and then hopefully no one will then come and block it at the last minute. Like any Disney trip, whether you're at Disneyland Paris or elsewhere, you might want to think about booking your dining if you want to eat at a table service restaurant, especially if it's school holidays. But in general, lots of people do the dining plan, so lots of people will be looking of where to eat at a nice restaurant and have a nice meal, and and you don't want to be waiting a long time for a table or being turned away from somewhere you really wanted to eat at. So it's really important that you do book your restaurant.
Yeah, now it has got a little bit confusing just recently about how far in advance that you can make bookings and how you go about booking those restaurant reservations. So they've recently changed the system for reservations in general, so for hotel and ticket booking, and also for the dining reservations as well. So it's a little bit glitchy at the moment, but just bear with it. Hopefully things will smooth over as we go on. But what Disney are now saying is that you can book your restaurant, table service restaurants, dining, 6 months in advance.
Yeah.
So it never used to be that far in advance. It used to be 60 days maximum that you could book. Now it's 6 months. So a general rule of thumb is you can ring the reservation line.
Yeah.
You can book online. At the moment it's not working particularly well. Some people are persevering and they're getting there in the end with it. Some people are just giving the reservations team a call. Whatever way you do it, just persevere until they get things sorted out, and then you can book those reservations up to 6 months in advance. Character dining is something that there's they're kind of they're saying, some people are saying 6 months advance, some people are saying no, you can't book in advance, some people are saying 3 days. From our experience, usually you can add character dining to your booking if you are staying in a Disney resort. So for example, we went to the Princess Breakfast at Auberge de Cendrillon in April, and we had already made that hotel reservation, and then a little bit after we decided that we wanted to go for that character breakfast. So we gave them a call, added it onto our booking, and it was all booked in for us.
Yeah, this was before the 3 days. It was a few weeks in advance, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So we just added it to the booking, and that was fine, wasn't it? We were staying in a Disney hotel, they added it to our Disney booking, so there wasn't really that time limit. Now what they're saying is if you're not staying at a Disney hotel, you can ring up to book 3 to 4 days, it depends on what time you do this, 3 to 4 days before you want that meal. So it may change with all these changes. We are getting conflicting reports at the moment, and it really does depend on the cast member that you get through to on the phone, and things are changing slowly. So it really is just one of those things where we can't give you a definitive answer about this at the moment, but this is the information that we've got right now.
Yeah, so the best thing to do is just to give the reservations team a call and try and find somebody to speak to, and then just ask the question. You might not get the answer you want. It might be worth calling back and speaking to someone else. We have done that before, where we've felt like we haven't quite been given the most accurate information, and we spoke to someone else and it's been fine.
Yeah.
So basically, yeah, we definitely recommend booking those dining reservations, but at the moment it's just a little bit glitchy about how it's done, and I'm sure they'll sort it out for you. But if you have any queries at all about booking your dining, the best thing to do is just give those guys a call. So our final tip of our little rundown of all our favourite Disneyland Paris tips is basically to take snacks with you.
Yeah.
For some reason it's still a bit of a misconception that you're not allowed to take your own food and drink into the parks. Obviously they have restrictions. You can't just take a great big picnic in a big cool bag, and you know, and that's kind of like not how it's done. But if you just want to take your own individual food in your own individual backpack, then it's absolutely fine. There are certain rules on things like glass.
Yeah.
So if you are unsure about the types of sort of packaging and things like that you can take in, there is more information on the Disneyland Paris website. But you absolutely can take your own food and drink into the park. So we usually take a coffee in our flask, or a bottle of water, and then we take little snack packs. So things like individually wrapped cookies, small packets of like savoury snacks, things like that, just to keep us going a little bit in between. We found it a real, not only a money saver, but a time saver as well.
Yeah, and you can just be in line waiting to get on a ride or waiting for a show, and you can eat. You can, you know, kill two birds with one stone. You're waiting for something else, you're having a little snack. You haven't had to go and wait in a line to go and buy those snacks and then find somewhere to eat them. You can kind of do it as you're going. So yeah, not only does it save money, it does save time as well. And yeah, we've found it really useful. It's become part of our Disneyland Paris routine. There was a time when we didn't do that at all, and we had a good time anyway, and we just queued up and bought the snacks. But this is something we've really come to love, especially the coffee in the flask thing. Complete life changer.
Yeah. So they are our most up-to-date top 10 tips for Disneyland Paris. If you are interested in watching our previous tips video, we go into a little bit more detail about things that we generally like to do in the parks. So if you're interested in that, we will try and link that video below for you. And generally, yeah, if you follow even just a couple of these tips, we're kind of hopeful that it's going to maximise your experience at Disneyland Paris. It's definitely worked for us.
Yep.
So hopefully it'll be good for you guys as well. And yeah, just have the best time regardless, really, we would say.
There are more tips available as well, because while we are in the parks and we're vlogging our experience, we do try and find out all the information, and any tips we learn along the way, we pass them on straight away in those vlogs. So you don't have to wait for a video like this. If you kind of following along with our little Disney adventures, we're giving tips and information all the time, and you might just find that one thing that's really helps you, which we really hope that it does. It's the reason why we make these videos, is to make sure that we're passing on all the information, everything that we find out, to make sure everyone has just the best time.
Yeah, so if you'd like to subscribe so you can see all those videos, please do click on that subscribe button. And if you found this video useful in particular, give it a little thumbs up for us. And if you've got any comments you want to leave below, please feel free.
Yeah, you might have some different tips. So if you've been lots of times before and you've got a few tips that we haven't covered, pop them in the comments below and help everybody out. Yeah, we just love sharing everything in the Disney community. So if you want to be part of that, then please stay in touch with us.
Thanks for watching.
Have a magical day.
When you had to wait 100 years on there for the first